Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
In a world where Big Pharma writes the script, it's time to believe. Biohack. Become.
We're here to explore the truth about healing that exists outside the broken medical system, give you the knowledge, the community, and the strategies you need to become the hero of your own health story.
Your guide is a biohacking entrepreneur, a near-death survivor, and a cancer warrior navigating his own healing journey. Founder of Biohackingville, Exodus Strong, and QE Strong. Your host, Rob Renee. This is Biohackingville, where the medical system has failed us. One man is leading the rebellion to reclaim.
Hello. Welcome to the Biohackingville podcast. I'm so excited. This is our inaugural version, and I've had a podcast for a very long time, but we're rebranding it to the Biohackingville podcast. I'm very excited. We're actually live on Talk 4 TV. It's pretty exciting. And I have an amazing guest today. I have Dr. Chris with us today. So I'm very excited to have an amazing conversation with this incredible man. I'm excited to introduce you to him and what he's doing and how we can work together to help the world. So Dr. Chris, are you here? Could we bring him on? There we go. How you doing, Dr. Chris?
Yes. Hey, how are you, Rob?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much.
To be here in Biohackingville.
Yeah, super exciting. We're very stoked to bring this to the world, right? What I'm putting together with Biohackingville is exciting. Respect that we've got this podcast where we really want to interview amazing people like yourself, Dr. Chris, and we want to bring your stories to the world. And I'm building a community that I want to actually have as a repository of just really good information for people, all related to biohacking concepts and topics. I'm going to have a neighborhood or a connection within it that's all about integrative oncology. That's something near and dear to my heart. And then we even will have a faith community as part of that collective Biohackingville. That's why I call it a ville. It's kind of multiple neighborhoods within this world. And I'll have a newsletter that is associated with this as well. So the podcast and the newsletter and the community are all encompassing of this Biohackingville. And the heart of it, right, is to help people. As I navigate my own health journeys and struggles and issues, I'm documenting all of those so that I can try to help people who go through similar issues to be able to, maybe cut down the time it takes to get answers and get information and just have this amazing repository of resources for people. That's the heart of what we're trying to put here together at Biohackingville. But today's not about really Biohackingville. Maybe we'll have an episode on just that, and we can walk through the neighborhoods and the community and the newsletter. But today I wanted to focus on you, Dr. Chris. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Rob. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I know that you have some really exciting things that you have been working on, but man, it's amazing to have you on. Just if you look at your past and what built you to be the man that you are today, it's so impressive. So I'm obviously in awe of what you have done in the past, and so I'd love, if you don't mind, just to maybe give a quick overview of yourself, but then I'd love to go back, right, and have you explain some of your past, because it's very, very impressive with what you have done, and then obviously we can dig into what your plans are and what you're building as part of the conversation ongoing. So why don't you just do a quick overview, and then we'll dive into your past.
Okay, well, thank you. But first and foremost, God gets all the glory, right? I didn't do any of it without him in my life and his directing me. So, just quick overview. Wow. So I graduated osteopathic medical school in 1992 and went on to a surgery residency, finished surgery residency in 97 in Detroit, Michigan. Then I opened my own holistic surgical practice. So I had a general and trauma surgery practice, but with a holistic medical foundation to it. So I not just took diseased body parts out, but after that, I tried to get the people to engage into optimal healing wellness journey after that, so that they didn't get more diseased organs in the future. So then, I incorporated some complementary alternative medicine, all within pre and post operative, and then on beyond. And then I opened a chronic back and neck pain practice, a illness prevention and holistic health practice, and a holistic weight loss practice, all in Northwest Ohio. And then God kind of directed me towards Texas. And in 2011, I moved to Texas and took a surgery and trauma, a general surgery and trauma practice in way north Dallas, Texas. And then I retired from general surgery, went into wound care, and found myself in the outpatient wound care world, where I was doing bedside wound care to the elderly in long-term care communities. And then, along with that, I did medical directorships for hospice companies, for house call companies, for wound care companies, and med spas. And I got into some men's health programs, some wellness, chiropractic practices, and now I am full-time into holistic health services, basically acting as a holistic health strategist to engage individuals on their journey to becoming, to live younger, longer, happier, healthier, and wealthier lives, and all through member-centered wellness care to grow and advance God's kingdom. That is my mission.
There you go. I love that. Is that the definition of the WAP Collective? Is that how you pronounce it? Is it WAP? How do you pronounce
WAPEP.
it?
Yeah.
WAPEP. There we go. So explain that to us. I think you just gave a summary of it, but explain what you're doing with that.
Yeah. So that's a dream that started in my heart probably 15, 20 years ago. And it stands for the Wellness and Healing Place for Exceptional People. And it's kind of changed concepts over the year, but really the foundation is the same. It's creating a community for like-minded individuals to engage in long-term optimal health and using holistic medical, holistic healing tools from all walks of life. And it's like I said, it's evolved, and now it's a private membership association, and we're all in the same thing, trying to create a community of like-minded people for the same reason, to live.
Yeah, I love it. So, I mean, if you look at obviously you've been involved with lots of different medical models, right? But with your surgeon, practice, and then helping out with the wound care, and then with the elderly. So you've seen all different types of the healthcare system, which I think is a really big advantage that you have. You've seen the chiropractic side of the world, and these holistic centers that people have put together that you've assisted. How does what you're doing? How have you used all of that information into trying to do something different with your service?
Well, I mean, it's all been useful in not only knowledge but skill basis. Knowing the ins and outs of the inpatient hospital world, acute care, and then chronic care in the conventional world, and in the non-conventional, in the alternative and holistic fields, and functional medicine and whatnot. And man, I can go on about the sick care system, and
Right.
how I've kind of just turned off from it. Except for acute care. If you're injured and you're been in an accident or whatnot, it's a great system. But as far as healing and chronic care, um, it's not a good model. It's not. It treats it really just manages your symptoms. It doesn't put you on a healing journey.
Right. Right. Yeah, I love that, and for the last 4 or 5 years, I've really dug into this whole health care world. Right, I've been trying to develop my own solutions, and founded a couple of health solutions companies, and really trying to help people, right, with all natural health solutions. And what I found myself doing, which is really interesting, was to focus too much on one side versus the other. Right, I was like, it was holistic or nothing kind of approach. Right, it was like, I'm going to do everything natural and the holistic, and I'm going to ignore anything that's on the evil side. Right, you kind of get into these camps. Right, it's like you're either for the sick care system, or you're totally against it, and there's very little cross between. And I think that you looks like, are bridging those, where you understand both, and you understand what's good and bad about each. And then me personally, I ended up having an occurrence where, my gosh, if it wasn't for the acute care system and the sick care system, I wouldn't be here today. Right.
Yeah.
So really, really it gave me an appreciation for the system that we do have, even though there are a lot of bad things about it. And we can talk about, the sick care world, and some terms that I have for that world that are pretty negative. But at the same point, there is a reason for those. And if you do need acute care, right, in my particular case, it was my heart. Right, I had a condition called bradycardia, and it was a slow beating heart, and I just kept trying for over a year, trying to take care of my heart from a holistic perspective. I met with a number of different practitioners, and I spent tens of thousands of dollars on all different types of treatments, both good and bad, and different supplements. And I just kept trying to figure out a way to get my heart to work the way I thought God intended it, to back to the natural way. And what ended up happening, to make a very long story short for people who don't know, is I ended up having three different helpers, is what I call them now, of people, with three different cardiologists at three different times over a 12-month period, recommend that I get a pacemaker. And I ignored the first one. And the second one I didn't ignore. I just said, no, I'm not going to get it. And then after the third one told me, I finally decided to do it. And lo and behold, right, my heart fails when I'm on the operating table to get my pacemaker. So if I hadn't actually gone and listened to the third one, I literally wouldn't be here today. So I have a huge appreciation for those heart doctors, and for my pacemaker that's literally pacing my heart today. Because without it, and without that acute care system, I literally wouldn't be here today. So I know early on you mentioned that you give God all the glory, which I think is super fantastic. And I believe that I wouldn't be here without him. And I believe that he still has me here on this planet for a reason, or I would have gotten my upgrade, and I didn't get my upgrade yet. So he still has a plan for my life, and
Absolutely.
obviously he has big plans for your life as well, Dr. Chris. Is pretty exciting. So one of the other things I mentioned, I know that you had mentioned to me earlier on, was peptides and regenerative medicine. And I'm super excited about that, because there's a lot of buzz in the biohacking world, right? And about peptides themselves, and just regenerative medicine itself. And it's like, what are you doing related to that? And what are your thoughts on those topics?
Well, see, like holistic integrative medicine is using all the tools in the toolbox, okay, and from all sides. So being from both worlds, I I know what the tools are available, and there's more and more tools becoming available as technology discovers it. So, yeah, I mean, peptides and regenerative medicine is kind of on the newer forefront of things, and it's really just utilizing the byproducts that God has created in our bodies, but accelerating them or multiplying or magnifying them. So peptides are just, branched chain amino acids, just proteins that the body typically makes, but as we get older, it makes less. And giving our bodies peptides gives us the building blocks to do what the body needs to do, depending on what the peptide is for, whether it's tissue regeneration or hormone balancing or antibacterial, antiviral, or whatnot. These peptides can add, outside peptides can add into our bodies the building blocks, the little men, to create to build what needs to be built. Same way with regenerative medicine, mesenchymal exosomes, stem cells. They're all part of our body. And as when you're born, newborn baby has probably the best quality and the highest number of exosomes, and which then creates stem cells. So exosomes has about 700 growth factors per exosome, and these are just building blocks for the body to heal and regenerate. And what's nice is that these exosomes go wherever your body needs them and repairs whatever needs to be repaired. So it's just discovering that, utilizing that, and taking advantage of that to use that tool for what we need it for.
Right, I love that. So I think you did an amazing job of kind of explaining the difference between, because that was one of the questions I was going to ask you. Is like, what many people are very, very familiar with peptides and with exosomes and stem cells, but some people are maybe brand new listening to this podcast, are like, okay, I've heard those terms, but what are they? So if you were to just basically explain all three of those, is that how you would explain it, like you just did, or is there an easier, like maybe a fourth grader version of what a peptide is?
It's just a part of amino acids, a protein.
Okay.
And our
And
body,
it's a building block, like you mentioned, right?
yeah, our body is made out of proteins, amino acids, and they're building blocks
Got it.
for all our organs, our tissues to utilize to function.
Yeah, and I the more research I'm doing, there's lots of different peptides, right? Lots of different particular reasons, and then so that leads to just another question. Is a lot of times with the peptides, there's multiple delivery mechanisms, right, of how to get that peptide into the body, and then so what are those different delivery mechanisms, and then when would you typically use one versus the other?
Yeah, so just think about it as an individual peptide is a key that fits into a key slot. So if you need balancing of hormones, you get a peptide that has those hormone balancing keys to put in the body to fill that key slot, so that the door fulfills that receptor and makes the door open, so to speak. Trying to, and there are, as things as we discover, there are more keys being discovered to open different doors in the body, whether it's to help you sleep, help with anxiety, help with depression, help with pain, help with sleep, help with antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, help with tissue repair, help with, it's just, I can go on and on and on.
Yeah, there's lots of them. I'm actually doing some peptides right now for some gut health issues, right? So it's just it's all over the board of what they are and what they do. And one of the places that I've visited recently down in Tijuana, they're very, very well known for the other side of the equation, more of the regenerative side of the world, and very big into stem cells. And so, as you mentioned, the peptides are like the key, unlocks the things within the body. And then you mentioned that we all, when we're born, we have more healthier stem cells than as we age. But so what do people typically do when they are trying to get stem cell treatments? What do they typically use that for?
Well, they use it for tissue regeneration.
Okay.
So, like I said, there are two different types. So you have the mesenchymal exosomes, and then you have stem cells. So the mesenchymal exosomes are the first line. Actually, they kind of create stem cells. So the stem cells are the kind of the end product of the exosomes. Very key differences in the mesenchymal exosomes has the growth factors, and the stem cells are actually the end product. So different varying schools of thought, but the exosomes can cross the blood-brain barrier. So I'm going to, and they can be utilized in any tissue. Stem cells pretty much go in and just create growth and create healing. So they can actually stimulate cancer cells.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why not typically you don't use stem cells in patients with cancer, because it'll just create more cancer cells.
Yeah, I was going to say, because then it just stimulates it and helps it spread versus what just the opposite of what you're trying to do in a cancer patient, right? So would that same thing be related to exosomes? Would those exosomes turn into the stem cells, which would then be a problem? So you'd typically not do exosomes either if you were a cancer patient?
So no. So the exosomes will go into damaged tissue, and the growth factors will go into that and be utilized appropriately. Yeah.
So the people that I was, surrounded myself with when I was in Tijuana, with a lot of people that were doing injections for a lot of regenerative problems, right? Where they were having, neck and or back or knee issues where they needed to regrow, specific parts of the body, right? So getting help with spinal issues and shoulder issues and knee issues. I thought that was just fascinating that the reports that we're getting from that facility was actually really incredible, right? If you look at the 6-month success rate, it's really high of the people who've taken those, and how it's dramatically helped their body do what those stem cells, they were hoping for them to do. So I don't know what the actual official, I haven't done a lot of research on the official stats of the success rates of exosomes and stem cells, but just anecdotally, they're really high with this particular center down in Mexico. So I was really impressed by the success rates that people are having with those types of treatments. Is that what you've seen as well?
Yeah, but just like any tool, if you use the tool correctly, it'll be more effective. So just by giving exosomes or stem cells just out of the blue, you'll have an effect, but less of an effect if you prepare the body for that tool. So so there is a preparatory method to get the body to use those tools more effectively. You detox the body appropriately. You give the body the building blocks and the nutritional foundation, so that when you do give the exosomes or the stem cells, they're going directly where you need them to go, and they're doing its most effective work.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really, really good point, because this, as I'm learning more about it, I was really impressed with how they teach people before they even get to the center, the things that they need to start working on. And then the actual pre-treatment before the actual stem cell treatment is pretty significant. It's like multiple days worth of therapies and treatments that they're doing to prep the body before they even do the stem cell treatment. And then there's multiple days after. And then as I was listening to their instructions, it's like, wow, for a 3-month period, you have to be very stringent on this, this, and this. And then, there's another 3-month period after that where you need to be restrictive on these specific things. And I was just like blown away at how comprehensive it is. But it's like the neat thing is there's smart people in this world who put together these solutions that are dramatically helping people. So I find that just fascinating how that's working. And one other question I just had just in general, it's like, why is medical tourism and going down to Mexico so prevalent? And why or can you do similar treatments in the U.S. maybe just from a stem cell perspective? Is that why are people going down to Mexico to do that?
Well, two reasons. One is regulatory parameters with the public jurisdiction, the regulatory framework that medical professionals have to work around.
Okay.
And the second reason is cost.
Right.
The cost is generally less in Mexico than in the United States.
Right.
Things are more readily available in Mexico than in the United States because of those regulatory.
Got it. Is that the same thing with peptides as well? Are there similar regulations related to peptides as stem cells, or are those more like on the supplement world? Is it where it's not as regulated as much?
Yeah, it has to do with FDA because the FDA regulates it all. So they can be used for research and development, but if you aren't using it for research and development in the public realm, you can be subject to practicing medicine without a license, or using those products inappropriately or against the rules.
Got it. Okay, very good. So one of the other things that I saw as one of the preparatory things they did for people that were doing these biohacking treatments, I would consider peptides and stem cells as a form of biohacking, right? And IV treatments is very, very popular, even in the States, right? I'm been in Texas for 4 years, and I see there's a number of IV centers around, and I didn't realize that was really a big thing until coming here and learning more about what people are doing. And I see the IV centers is really, really popular. So what to explain that a little bit, that seems to be growing fast.
Yeah, it's definitely a growing trend. It's just basically getting the nutrients and byproducts into your system a little bit faster, quicker. So you have first line is oral route. The next line is injections through intramuscular or subcutaneous, and then you have intravenous. So getting something directly into the body intravenously becomes more bioavailable, and it becomes more effective.
Got it. Yeah, that makes really, really good sense. What do you see of the popular things that people are getting IV treatments for today? And isn't that going back to what you're working on right now with the WAPEP Collective? And are you doing some stuff related to helping people with that?
Yes. So I have a IV wellness center in Louisville, Texas.
Awesome.
And I have different protocols for IV nutrition, peptides, regenerative medicine. Some are kind of typical, like the Myers cocktail. And I did that. I gave my pre and post-op patients Myers cocktail back in the early 2000s.
Wow, really? You've been doing this for decades, huh?
Yeah, the Myers cocktail is pretty basic. It just has probably about 10 to 15 different ingredients in there, nutrients in there. So it's a good baseline, and then you can kind of build upon that. But we can pretty much do a lot, give a lot through intravenously.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really because obviously Myers cocktails one. What are the other couple things that are popular?
So you can get multivitamins and minerals, trace minerals. You can do high dose vitamin C. You can do just a different combination. Do glutathione, antioxidants. You can do NAD. You can do extra B vitamins, B complex. Yeah, I mean,
Lots of different things, huh?
yeah,
So one of the treatments that I know a number of the folks that were getting the stem cells, it was NAD, and it was like interesting how that particular one seemed to be more difficult for some, and some it was really good. But I don't even know what NAD is. What is NAD, and what does that do to help prep people for something like a stem cell?
Yeah, NAD helps with the mitochondrial.
Okay,
And each cell has a mitochondria, which is mitochondria are like the powerhouse of
right.
the cell. And if your mitochondria don't have it needs to function, it's like your engine is not going to work. It's going to sputter. So NAD helps the mitochondria function. And then then you have cell signaling. If one cell can't communicate with the other cells, then you have miscommunication in the body, and the body's not working in sync. So yeah, it's a good supplement to use.
Got it. Got it. I like it. I know one of the other things that you've been working on is a private membership association. Is that something you can talk about, or would you like to talk about? Or what does that mean when you talk about a PMA?
Yeah, so private health membership association is basically based on the First and 14th Amendment of the Constitution. So freedom of speech and freedom of association. So it basically turns a public service into a private service.
Okay.
So it's providing services member to member, and it allows you to do things or offer services that the public that you wouldn't otherwise offer to the public.
Got it. So you can do things from a person to person perspective. That's just you recommending, or just a person saying, I would like this I would like to have this, and you as a private member person could provide me that, right? If I was in my home and I wanted you to give me an IV treatment, you could give me an IV treatment, for example.
Right. And a simple way to think about it is, if you had a piece of land and you had a child that was under the legal age of driving, but you taught your child how to drive, 12 years old, 13 years, 14 years old, and they're
Right.
efficient and skilled at driving, they can drive on your land all day long without any problem. But
Got it, because it's your land, right?
your land, it's private property. Once they go onto a public road, it's a different story. They're subject to the rules and laws of the state. And
Got it.
they're
Got
under
it.
legal age of driving, they don't have a license, then they could be arrested for driving without a license.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. One of the things I know that you're helping people too with is just health coaching, right? Because I think that's what a lot of people need nowadays. It's like there's so many different options, so many different tools out there, like you mentioned, and then everybody has an answer, right? So everybody you talk to says, "Oh, you should do this, you should do that." It's like
Right.
it gets really confusing, right?
Yes,
Of what to do.
especially when you get into the weight loss, the GLPs for weight loss. People, that's the hottest topic, right? I need to
Yeah,
lose weight. Can I get the weight loss peptide? And people are getting hold of these peptides. They don't know how to use them. They misuse it, and it can be dangerous for them. It can
yeah,
cause them to have pancreatitis, and or just long-term use, and they're losing muscle mass along with their weight. So yeah, holistic health consulting is very important when it's getting the big picture, because there are a lot of details that are important when you want to heal the body. And if you don't take the time to unravel that, it's like an onion. If somebody has all these symptoms and are dealing with these issues, if you don't unravel that onion to see what the root cause of those issues are, and then rebuild upon that, you're doing them a disservice. So that's what I do with holistic health consulting. I spend hours with them initially to unravel the onion, to find out what is the root cause of their problem, and then rebuild the body up from that point on. Detoxification, get rid of all the stuff that they've accumulated, the dis-ease that they've accumulated over the years, and then rebuild them in a healing environment. So the concept is that if the body's given the right environment to heal, then no disease, no bacteria, no fungus, no cancer can survive in that optimal healing environment. So that's the way I like to deliver to my members.
Yeah, I love that, because I think, as you and I've talked about in the past, that God designed this temple so incredibly amazing that it's designed to heal itself, right? If if you give it the right circumstances to do so.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about what you're doing for people, is because as I navigate all my health journeys, and I talk to the different practitioners and the different folks, there's very, very few people in this world that are looking at the body as a whole now, right? It's like our system is so specialized that you have a kidney issue, you go see a kidney specialist, right? And that kid, then all of a sudden you take a prescription for that particular issue, and then every single drug has a side effect. And as I was researching this health world, especially as it relates to pain, that is really super frustrating, in the respect that that particular prescription is then going to cause something else to happen that would maybe totally unrelated to my initial kidney problem. And then guess what? Now I've got a liver problem. And then I go see a liver specialist. The liver specialist gives me another prescription, and it just continues on with this cycle. And the average senior today is on 15 different prescription medications in a year period.
Yeah.
And so that's just too much, right? That's just way too much.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem with conventional medicine today, is that it's so disconnected, and really the physicians, the specialists, don't have time to talk to each other.
Right.
And so specialized that it's so disjointed, and that's how people end up with all these medications, because one doctor is putting them on medications for this problem. They go to another doctor, they put them on medications for a different problem. They don't talk to each other. The medications have side effects and integrate and compound. And the thing is that the studies were done on the side effects of one medication. There are no studies that were done on the side effects of different combinations of medications. And so people are often taking medications to treat the side effects of another medication. And it so confuses the body and creates more problems than it's really worth. And that's how they ended up with all these medications, and they're a mess. They're a mess.
Yeah.
It's such a disservice.
It's frustrating, because you feel so bad for them, because if you think about it, if there's average person's taking 15, then that means somebody's taking 25, right? and someone's taking 5.
And
So
the
it's
thing
just
is,
like,
the medications are not designed to heal the problem. They're
yeah,
designed to treat the symptom of the problem.
right,
So
right.
it's just compounds, and they're living their life with these chronic issues that are just compounding, and it's a mess.
Yeah, it is a mess. That's why I'm so excited to see what you're doing from a holistic perspective. And you spend the time early on with the patient so you can try to uncover some of the root causes of things, and or just continue to work to try to find what those root causes are. Because if we don't end up finding what the root cause is, then you're just fighting an uphill battle. And I think that's we're doing a disservice to humanity when that happens. And I love the fact that you're helping people with this GLP-1 thing, because that does make a lot of sense. People are so enamored with the, oh my gosh, I see all these people losing weight in a dramatic fashion, but then they just rush to try to find the injection and or somebody who's going to treat them. And maybe they are finding it a little bit less expensive to go to facility A versus facility B. But the problem is that there's no one looking at, like you are, from the entire perspective, saying, oh well, hey, before you do that, you should make sure your body's ready for that. And then when you do that, then these other things that you need to be cognizant of to make it more effective in order to do that. Am I accurate in that statement?
Yeah, and that's why I like to be considered a holistic health strategist, because it's really looking at the whole picture, strategizing, and helping that individual along their journey. And so I'm not here to replace their doctors, but I'm here to kind of put it all together and guide them along the healing path.
Yeah, that's awesome. So excited that you're doing that, because if I go back to my health journey, just if I had that person that could be my coach, right, that says, hey, here, do this, and point me in the right directions on things, it would have saved me so much time and effort and stress along the way. Whereas I had to piece everything together, myself, right, and that becomes really a difficult issue, and I think it's frustrating for people. But if you're, for listeners now that are new to holistic health, what's one simple practice or shift you think that they could make today that would just change their well-being?
One simple shift?
Yeah.
Well, I would say probably change their lifestyle. Change their lifestyle habits. I have a list of 7 different lifestyle routines.
Okay. Sounds like we got a fun friend with us.
Yorkie. Yeah. She's a big guard dog. She's a 6-pound guard dog.
There you go. Anyway, I like it.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, it really, there's 7 different things to do every day to lay the foundation. But probably if I were to pick one thing, is the mind-body connection. Okay. Connecting your thoughts to God, our the supreme being, and keep your thoughts on Him, and because feelings are chemical, so your thoughts becomes feelings, and the feelings create responses in your body. So if you're having positive thoughts, it's going to create positive response to your body, and positive chemicals delivered to the body. So if you would say any one thing to do, is have a positive mindset, have the mindset of Christ, and everything else will flow from that.
Yeah, I love that, because I am really big into the whole mind, body, spirit connection, and I found it fascinating, the research behind the how empowering your mind is, and when you get your mind to believe and think in a specific way, like you said, it's literally a physical reaction within the body. And I don't think most people understand that connection, because that's literally scientifically proven, right? Yeah. that does happen, but it's a really hard shift for people to say, oh my gosh, I really need to think positively, and then my body will react related to to that. And it's just the more research that I do on this incredible temple that God did give us, that is one of the key foundations. And just that's what I love about what the Biohackingville approach is, just to help people, give people hope, right? If you have hope, then guess what? You can get better, right? Even if things look really dim and the doctors, maybe write you off, that doesn't mean that you're done, right? God can change anybody at any time. And then just to have this mental attitude. I was listening to a book just the other day, and it talked about the patients. They've done research on patients that have the glass half empty, attitude, where life is bad and their health is bad. Yet they were the exact same situation, the exact same age, with the exact same problem that person, set of person B's had. And those folks, ended up having good attitudes and saying their health wasn't that bad. And they all did better than the people who just said, oh yeah, I'm just doing horrible, right? I'm in bad shape. And oh my gosh, you get that mentality that things are bad and that things are doomy and gloomy. And guess what? They're going to be doomy and gloomy. And it's a real transition in the mind that has a physical impact on the body. So I think that's fascinating.
There's actually a gene that we carry that predicts whether we're a worrier or a warrior. And it's very interesting because it is so tied to the person's mindset.
Right.
You can overcome that, but typically a warrior will see their glasses half full, but a warrior will see, hey, my glass is only filled halfway, and it's a challenge to fill it the rest of the way. So the positive mental attitude is so important. I mean, you can focus on, hey, I don't want to get cancer, and say, live your life as, I don't want to get cancer, I don't want to get cancer, I don't want to get cancer. Or you live your life saying, I want to live healthy, I want to live healthy, I want to live healthy. Because the person who's going to focus on, I don't want to get cancer, they're going to get cancer just because that's what their self-talk is.
Right.
Right. I want to be healthy, I want to be healthy. They're going to gear towards healthy.
Yeah,
But I want to mention probably the scripture that best fits this is Philippians 4:8. Fix your thoughts. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy. And that's it. I mean, that is the key scripture to having a positive mental attitude. You fix your thoughts on things that are good and not on things that are bad.
Yeah, amen.
That is the first line. So the second you wake up, you praise the Lord, for the day that He's made, and rejoice and be glad in it. First thing, and you set up the rest of the day from there.
That's beautiful. Well, Dr. Chris, we're running out of time, so I want to make sure people know how to get a hold of you. What's the best way for them to connect with you?
That's a good question. So they can, email me.
Okay.
At cfluccese@gmail.com. cfluccese@gmail.com. I do have QR codes and links, but obviously I can't.
Yeah, I can. Well, you can get those to me, and I can include those in the show notes later. So we'll get those for people. But Dr. Chris, I really, really appreciate you a lot, and I just like to say that if you have air in your lungs today, right? God has a plan for your life.
Yes.
Believe, biohack, become.
Yes, I love that. Rob, thank you very much.
God bless you. Thank you so much, Dr. Chris. I really appreciate everything that you do, and looking forward to getting this out to the world.
Absolutely, brother. Be blessed.
All right. Have a nice evening. God bless. Remember, if you have air in your lungs today, God has a plan for your life. Believe, biohack, become.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Join the community and get the show notes at biohackingville.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at Biohackingville. Until next time, believe, biohack, become.